Ease is a shopkeeper. One day, a customer comes in looking for Indomie. They bargain over the price until they come to an agreement. As Ease turns his back to look for the Indomie, the customer steals butter from the shop. Ease hands him the Indomie, but just as he is about to leave, Ease stops him. He steps outside to check what's in the customer's pocket. Ease makes the man kneel down and forces him to eat the raw butter. After that, he finally lets him go. Nika is a hairdresser. She goes to her employer, Ebery, to ask for her salary. However, she finds the money missing. When she asks Ebery about it, Ebery denies knowing where the money went, despite the fact that only the two of them were in the shop. Nika becomes angry. Eventually, Ebery gives her the money. Later, when things have cooled down, Nika asks Ebery why she took the money. Ebery explains that her mother is sick and she needed the money for hospital bills. Nika warns her that if she steals again, she'll be fired. The scene then shifts to Richard in his grandfather's room. He steals money from him. At the same time, Chief, Richard's grandfather, is walking toward the room. Stephanie runs to him and distracts him by insisting he come see something. She pressures him until he agrees. Stephanie shows him the driver washing the car using a detergent he was told not to use. Chief gives Stephanie the authority to handle the matter, and she immediately fires the driver. Isa's grandmother calls him for a talk. She tells him that if his father had not died, he would have inherited his grandfather's wealth. Isa is shocked by this news. He asks her how that could be. She tells him that had his father lived, Isa would now be in line to inherit from his still living grandfather. She promises to take him to meet his grandfather when the time is right so he can claim the inheritance. Chief later calls Richard and Stephanie to ask them about money that has gone missing from his drawer. They both swear they didn't take it, and Chief lets them go, although he remains suspicious. That night, Stephanie tells Richard that they need to return the money. She says she's scared. However, Richard insists they can't return it and should just be more careful so they don't get caught. The scene shifts to Ease sitting alone in his shop, wondering why he is suffering despite his grandfather being a billionaire. He is so lost in thought that he doesn't notice when a customer enters. Meanwhile, Nika visits her grandfather, who is also a chief. She's happy to see him. Nika is Chief's favorite grandchild, but she chooses not to live with them because she prefers independence. Chief gives her some money before heading out to work. Stephanie and Richard don't like Nika. They know she is Chief's favorite and fear she might inherit everything. Stephanie confesses that she hates her, especially the attention she gets from their grandfather. Richard suggests they set her up. Nika returns to the village, and Ease goes to see her. He has been trying to date her, but she keeps rejecting him. Ease tells her that soon he'll be a billionaire after inheriting his grandfather's wealth. Nika replies that if he knew how wealthy her own grandfather was, he wouldn't believe it. Ease then borrows money from her. Initially, Nika refuses, but she eventually lends him the money after he promises to repay it in 3 days. Ease later visits a car dealership and asks about car prices. When told the price, he laughs and says it's too low, claiming he'll pay double once he gets his inheritance. The scene shifts to Nika counting money. She asks Ebery why the amount is incomplete. Thinking quickly, Ebery says that Chioma hasn't paid for the goods she took. Nika warns her not to joke with her business, saying if the money isn't complete, she'll deduct it from her salary. Chief gathers his grandchildren and asks why the house looks like a club. Richard explains it's his birthday and he wanted to celebrate quietly at home. Chief responds that it's fine to celebrate but not in such a manner. He promises to take them out to celebrate properly. Ease gifts someone a television, saying he'll buy a bigger one later. His grandmother is shocked to find the TV missing. She wonders if someone broke in and stole it. Ease confesses that he took it and gave it away, promising her a bigger one once he inherits the property. Nika returns to see her grandfather. Chief tells her that he wants her to manage his company but she must give up her ghetto lifestyle, including her mohawk hairstyle and smoking. He says that since she has a degree in management, she is the right person for the job. If she performs well, she may inherit the property. Nika is overjoyed. Chief sends her to his room to fetch his phone. On her way, she bumps into Richard. They greet each other and continue with their tasks. In the room, Nika sees some money on the bed. She picks it up. The scene cuts to Stephanie sleeping when Richard walks in. He tells her he saw Nika going to their grandfather's room. He warns her that if they don't act soon, they'll be removed from the will. Stephanie assures him she'll handle it, even if it means killing Nika. Nika goes to collect her money from Ease. 3 days have passed and he hasn't repaid her. Ease says the money he was expecting didn't come and asks for 10 more days to repay it with interest. Nika, frustrated by his games, takes his speaker. When Ease tries to stop her, she breaks a glass bottle and threatens him, saying he'll get the speaker back only when he pays her. Chief later asks Nika if she saw the money he left on the table. Nika tells him to check under the bed. He finds it there and praises her for being trustworthy, even though she looks rough. That's why he loves her. Ease goes to the city looking for a job as a driver. Chief hires him. Stephanie warns Ease that nothing should happen to Chief, as many people depend on him. Chief tells Ease to get ready because they're leaving in 30 minutes. Curious, Ease asks Stephanie where the expensive cars are, as he only sees 2. He starts to doubt if Chief is really a billionaire. Stephanie tells him to mind his business. The scene shifts to Richard and Stephanie stealing jewelry from Chief's room. They don't know Nika is secretly recording them. When she appears, they pretend to be cleaning. Ease walks in but says nothing. While driving Chief around, Ease impresses him with his driving. Chief asks if he completed school. Ease says he didn't because of lack of school fees. Chief offers to pay for his education if he agrees to return to school. Ease agrees. He then asks where the rest of the cars are if Chief is truly a billionaire. Chief replies that wealth isn't measured by cars but by character. Nika waits for her grandfather. When the car arrives, she sees Ease and is shocked. She greets Chief, pretending not to notice Ease. They go inside. Ease is also surprised, wondering how Chief could be Nika's grandfather. Later, Nika confronts Ease, asking what he's doing in the city as a driver and why he hasn't inherited the money he spoke of. Ease confesses that he's just a driver now and his new name is Abba. He warns her to stay out of his business. Chief becomes very ill. He calls Richard to give instructions to his employees. The pain worsens, and he begins coughing uncontrollably. At the same time, Ease calls his grandmother and says Chief is very sick and this might be the right time to reveal the truth. She asks if he has told Chief he's his grandson. Ease says no. She advises him to speak up immediately before it's too late. The next scene shows Chief warming up in the compound. Richard and Stephanie are shocked to see him healthy. Everyone is surprised except Nika, who is happy. Chief then introduces Ease as his eldest grandson, declaring that Ease will now protect the other grandchildren. Later, Nika asks Ease how he is related to Chief, since she is the daughter of Chief's second son. Ease tells her it doesn't matter, Chief has already accepted him as his grandson. Stephanie poisons Nika's food. Ease sees her and throws the food in the trash. He warns Nika to be careful with what she eats and tells her to cook her own meals from now on. Time passes and Nika remains healthy. They start to wonder if their plan has failed. Chief calls his lawyer to amend his will and include Ease. Nika interrupts the meeting with DNA test results proving that Ease is not related to Chief. She had secretly taken a hair sample while Ease was sleeping and tested it. Chief, shocked, ends the meeting but insists the lawyer should still follow his instructions. Richard and Stephanie are happy and call Ease an imposter. One day, while eating together, Chief suddenly started to cough and collapsed. When the doctor was called, he said that Chief was very sick and there was nothing he could do about it. Days passed by, and only Nika was the one taking care of Chief. She washed him every day and fed him. Chief had to call the lawyer to amend his will for the final time. He ordered everyone to leave the room so he could remain alone with the lawyer. He told him that he wished his will to be executed to the letter, and they decided to record it. Days later, the sickness became severe. Nika found Chief sleeping, and when she tried to wake him up, he did not respond. She realized that he had died. 3 days after the burial, as instructed by Chief, the lawyer came to read his will. Before he could begin, Richard had already started complaining, claiming that the lawyer and Nika had conspired to take everything. Ease was also called to the meeting. When the lawyer read the will, it stated that Nika would inherit everything from the companies to the cars and the house. Richard and Stephanie stormed out, complaining that the will was not correct. Ease, doubting its authenticity, grabbed the will from the lawyer's hands. The movie ends with Nika escorting the lawyer